Get members to do.
Yes. You think you are partisan clerk? You are doing
Honourable members, can there be some order?
clerk. If the clerk thinks that she's a party clerk, yes. The clerk to Parliament. There was a call for a meeting. Your chief whip called for a meeting for us to engage in agreement.
This engagement, who were taken by surprise that the clerk without notice to us was administering the oath. That notwithstanding, I think we've had a discussion to proceed with this vetting and soon thereafter resolve all outstanding matters. So, honorable members, we shall proceed to do the vetting for our colleague Kwabena Minta Akandu, and we believe that the chair, in good faith, as he's always been known for, will do just that, so that we resolve all outstanding matters without any further rancor.
Members, last night during our sitting, what started as a disagreement between members of the committee with regard to vetting some of His Excellency the President's ministerial nominees degenerated into a full-blown physical altercation between members of the committee, leading to the destruction of some furniture and microphones in the committee room and disruption of proceedings, causing the sitting to end abruptly. The damage to these items affected the functionality of the committee and has also tarnished the dignity of the institution and its members. Upon assessment of the extent of the damage, one microphone was damaged beyond repairs and has been replaced. Fortunately, this morning, proceedings will carry on without any technical hinge. It is essential that we assure a swift return to order and maintain the integrity of our parliamentary process.
We are beginning to observe attempts by the majority to force through some nominees and railroad them through a rubber stamp process. We are also beginning to observe a breakdown of security, law and order within the precincts of Parliament, and especially last night at the committee room by some NDC thugs. These thugs were hired, organized and brought in to come and intimidate the minority. But let me tell the NDC, we are few, but we are a mighty few. We are firm in our conviction, we are determined, and we shall never surrender to their intimidation. Indeed, yesterday night, we saw verbal attacks on us, and it took the vigilance of the police to escort us out of the chamber. We commend the police for what they did last night in ensuring law and order.
With respect to the spare parts of ambulance and the contract between the company which is supposed to maintain the ambulances in the Republic of Ghana, per my briefing, these are the facts. Because, Mr. Chairman, if approved by the committee, I am determined to investigate that particular matter. So I can only give you the facts as I was briefed. Mr. Chairman, the facts are that, number one, that same company was given the opportunity to buy not less than 307 ambulances at the rate of $41 million US. And Mr. Chairman, per my briefing, the contract I have seen, then the minister went ahead to sign a contract for the maintenance of the 307 ambulances at the rate of $77 million US in 5 years. Mr. Chairman, don't forget that we all have cars. The deterioration of any car is not as much as the last 5 years, the first 5 years or 4 years. Your machines may not be deteriorated that much. And so these are the facts available to me, and I am going to institute investigation into the matter. Thank you.
This is a very interesting question on geopolitics and what should be our geopolitical positioning. And I would like to make reference to our foreign policy, which Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah presented to this House on the 16th of December, 1959. He talked about Ghana's foreign policy being positively neutral, that we shall not look left or right, we shall look forward. And that is why, after that, he collaborated with his colleagues to establish the non-aligned movement in 1961. So Kwame Nkrumah said that as much as possible, we shall seek to be friends of all and enemies to none. So our posture will remain same. We will seek to be good friends to all of these countries. But being good friends, as Kwame Nkrumah said on the 16th of December 1959, doesn't mean that if along the line there is a misstep, you engage in some violation of international law, you go against the rule-based order. It does not mean that we will not speak out or point it out to you. That is even what shows that we are really good friends. So in these countries you have listed, there are matters that are concerning. For example, the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. We take the view that the humanitarian crisis there is totally unconscionable and unacceptable. And it is with dismay that we will continue to urge for a resolution of the Middle East crisis. We remain committed to the two-state solution so far as the Israeli-Palestinian conflict is concerned. We do not align with hardliners on both sides who say that one state should be totally annihilated, does not deserve to exist. No. We say that let's respect the UN resolution, a two-state solution. One of the priority areas that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has tasked me to work on is how the Foreign Ministry is repositioned to help resolve the unemployment crisis in our country. Unemployment has moved from about 8.6% in 2016 to 14.7% currently, according to the Ghana Statistical Service. We need to make sure that this migration that is going on because of the search for employment benefits our country, it is regulated, and it's a win-win situation. Countries like Cuba, Indonesia, because of their strategic foreign policy, have been able to use their foreign policy. They sign bilateral agreements with other countries. They export labor, so their citizens are well catered for because everything has been signed, is done legally, so their rights are protected. A portion of revenue goes to the country, and then there's another portion that goes to the workers, particularly the Cuban Medical Brigade, if we are to look at the Cuban model. So under my leadership, I will seek to aggressively pursue economic diplomacy in a way that allows for bilateral agreements to be signed.
What is the difference between the ordinary thief and a political thief? Number one, the ordinary thief steals your money, your bag, your watch, and your jewelry, isn't it? But the political thief steals your future, your career, your education, your health, and your business. Number two, the hilarious part is that the ordinary thief will choose whom to rob. But you are the one who choose the political thief to rob you. Because we choose them. We vote them. We blindly say we are not blind. Who is deceiving who? The ridiculous part of the whole issue is that we will fight to defend and protect our belongings from the ordinary thief. Is it not? But we fight each other to defend and protect the political thief. Is that not what we do? Thugs will be fighting themselves to protect those that are stealing our career, stealing our joy, stealing our health, stealing our success. What a shame.
Government is broke, government is broke. But people are spending billions to go inside the government that is broke. Have you ever seen a minister who resigned because government is broke before? Government has no money. Have you ever seen a governor who said, ladies and gentlemen, when I was elected, I thought the government had money. Now I discover government has no money, I resign. Have you ever seen it? Government has no money, but they are bringing money out at election time. Where is that money coming from? So they are lying. What is happening is that there are two types of wicked people in government. Type 1, they eat current money. Any money they find in government, they will eat it. They are wicked about that one. There is type 2. Type 2, they eat current money and future money. They will say, my term will end next year. When I leave, how will I eat money? Let me borrow money now and borrow money of the future and eat it now.
All right, a very good morning to you and you're welcome to the program. It's Good Morning Ghana, and today is the 3rd of February 2025. We thank God for giving us yet another day to go through the issues of the country. Let's start with the headlines of the newspapers and I go through, starting with the Daily Graphic. Daily Graphic says, Asante hails CAF Transformation Project. Dr. Esiama assumes office today as new BOG governor. At African Prosperity Dialogue, let's unlock Africa's potential. Mahama charges continent leaders. Republic Bank poised to break new grounds. MD, passport regime needs reform. Ablakwa says at vetting. Ghanaian Times. NDC Pro Forum supports Ablakwa to advance Ghana's global agenda. Don't keep LPG cylinders indoors. MPA cautions public. Disclaimer. The Ghanaian Times has a disclaimer on the front page. It says that the Ghanaian Times' attention has been drawn to a fake headline. Sierra Leone's High Commissioner to Ghana has been apprehended in Accra while allegedly in possession of cocaine superimposed on its lead story headline. And that's a disclaimer, so you can grab a copy and read the details. Arrest prosecutes illegal miners. President Mahama directs 3 ministers to take action. The New Crusading Guide, Stop the Lies, group to Daniel Keshi Bessie over Electrochem. Tanko Kwamiga's Council of State bid sparks uproar amid criminal allegations. Alex Dade champions diaspora investments for Africa's transformation at Africa Prosperity Dialogue 2025. The top right corner, Babing suspension of 4 MPs breach rules of natural justice. Bobby Banson. Africa Prosperity Dialogue has come to stay. Mahama. There's a rejoinder fraud allegations surface against Angela lists amidst false claims. Joseph headmaster, certificate theft, complainant unhappy with police, GES. The insight. Adasongo Source Project, workers of Electrochem urge government to repossess concession for allegedly flouting lease agreement. The possibility of war against Iran. Towards protecting Ghana's forest reserve, Mahama vows to revoke all mining leases issued by NPP government. Dr. Johnson Esiama returns as BOG governor as Dr. Addison dodges impending dismissal notice. Establish business support fund to help boost Ghana's economy. Obibini Blackman CEO. The Informer. Poverty biggest threat to democracy. Baumia. Okwapiman honors Damboche for years of dedicated service, patriotism and integrity. OSP on course as half-year report reveals monumental achievements, investigates sale of GES appointment letters. GNA-ISD merger, government assures of job security. Unacceptable conduct by MP, Speaker's order challenged. The Inquisitor. After December 2024 elections, ECO service providers. Intruders forcefully take over pensioners' home at McCarthy Hills. Semi-literate Wontumi for MPP National Chair. I think it would have been appropriate to put the semi-literate thingy in a quote or something, because, I mean, what you deem as literacy is probably deemed differently by a different person or a different body, in this case, the MPP, so I don't think it's fair. Kwachio Fosu, hints of GNA-ISD merger. Also at the top right corner, Alex Dade makes strong case at APD 2025. The Herald. John Mahama resets relationship with Gabi Ocho-Darko, graces his investment program. Hey, journalists. Okay. John Mahama resets relationship. And resets is in quotes this time. All right. Relationship with Gabi Ocho-Darko graces his investment program under AFCFTA after. Energy Minister investigates Dubik Mahama's 2,500 locked up ECG containers, demurrage balloons to alarming 1.5 billion Ghana cedis. Roads Minister orders 40 billion Ghana cedis owed contractors. KPMG Ghana announces GRA boss resignation as country managing director. Telecel Ghana appeals for fairness from NCA Director General. And the Daily Statesman, Mahama pledges support for Africa Prosperity Dialogues. And CDD Ghana boss false speaker over MP suspension. Legal woes cast doubts on Tanko Kwamiga's Council of State bid. And then KGL boss advocates PPP diaspora investments for Africa's growth. The Ghanaian publisher, minority derides Gbagbin suspension order. JB Dankwa demonished and vilified, but it's still relevant today. Kojo Afai writes, Mahama backs Africa Prosperity Dialogues, calls for urgent action on trade. The custodian. Gbagbin didn't follow right procedure in suspending 4 MPs, CDD boss. Suspension of NPP MPs, minority rejects Gbagbin's selective justice. Small-scale miners back Bua to succeed. Tribe Afri Ensemble targets wider exposure. And the top right corner says Mahama gives full support to Africa Prosperity Dialogue. The Daily Post. Mahama nominates Dr. Johnson Esiama as BOG governor. 70% of Ghanaians believe country is headed in right direction under President Mahama. And then Ghana, EU to meet over $50 million package. And upcoming delivery of military equipment to Ghana comes with the pictures of Ghana's Minister of Defense, Dr. Edward Omane Boamah, and also the European Union's ambassador to Ghana, Richard Razali. All right. So that's it for the headlines this morning. We'll take a break. We'll be back shortly.
Sometimes the unexpected happens and the hero falls down in his own story. But he needs not stay down for long. Cosmopolitan Health Insurance is your trusted health partner. Whether an individual building a business, with Cosmopolitan Health Insurance, your medical care is our concern. For the best health insurance solutions for corporate institutions, groups and associations, families and individuals, choose Cosmopolitan Health Insurance from our over 700 accredited health service providers nationwide. Call us on 0302 540 668 or 0501 678 547 for all your health insurance solutions. Cosmopolitan Health Insurance, your medical care is our concern.
great music, excellent service, great company, and meats galore. The Alisa Friday Barbecue. It's fun on Fridays at Alisa.
Attention all farmers, are you ready to take your crops to the next level? Introducing 3 effective organic composts that will revolutionize your farming practices. ACAP, KCAP and IRICOP brings to you the ultimate solution for your fertilizer needs. Introducing the ACAP Grade A, KCAP Equiafua Jinkwa and the IRICOP with cocoa blends, palm blend and mulch. These are made from locally sourced municipal solid waste, and these are the perfect choice for sustainable farming. Join the organic revolution today. Boost your crop yield, improve soil health, and support sustainable farming practices. Choose ACAP, KCAP, and IRICOP organic compost for a greener and bountiful harvest. For your purchase and more information, call the numbers on your screen. Our products are endorsed by COCOBOD, Planting for Food and Jobs, and the Ministry of Food and Agriculture.
One upgrade is nice, but a double upgrade is amazing. And that's how we do it. Upgrade today to get even more with Step Up. If you're on GoTV Max and upgrade to GoTV Super, you'll get way more with GoTV Super Plus.
It's so cool!
Get big value. Get big entertainment.
Very good.
Perfect! Upgrade and get even more with GoTV. GoTV. Love it.
Look around. Home also need a makeover. Mine clearly does. So we went to Ashroom and found the Como collection. It had everything we're looking for and more. Merchant furniture for the entire home, designed with you in mind.
Where's Como collection? Dressing up is just the breeze. Always ready with a perfect accessory.
A magic dressing mirror. One look and you're ready to face the world. Or at least the kids.
A bed perfect for young men who want
a table that turns into a treasure chest.
And finally, a sofa with this grand TV unit for family time at home.
Head over to any Ashphone store now and discover the new Como collection. Ashphone, feel it, know it. Energy drink.
This is Coastal Park, a well-demarcated gated community carved out to host your residential and commercial properties. With a minimum of 40,000 Ghana cedis, you too can own a piece of this serene site.
It's just 50 minutes drive from the Central University College, as well as just some 5 minutes drive from the Ningo Senior High School. More so, just in case you live somewhere in Adam and you want to take that excursion to many of those areas along the Volta estuary, this is the right property for you to invest in.
Great news from Estate Masters Limited. We're running a 10% discount promo on all sites to celebrate our 10th year anniversary. Join in the celebration by becoming an Estate Master. Enjoy benefits such as free site visits throughout the duration, free indenture, and free site plan. Contact us for more information. Remember, T's and C's apply. Estate Masters Limited, your most preferred estate partner.
With respect to the spare parts of ambulance and the contract between the company which is supposed to maintain the ambulances and the Republic of Ghana, per my briefing, these are the facts. Because, Mr. Chairman, if approved by the committee, I am determined to investigate that particular matter. So I can only give you the facts as I was briefed. Mr. Chairman, the facts are that, number one, that same company was given the opportunity to buy not less than 307 ambulances at the rate of $41 million. And Mr. Chairman, per my briefing, the contract I have seen, then the minister went ahead to sign a contract for the maintenance of the 307 ambulances at the rate of $77 million in 5 years. Mr. Chairman, don't forget that we all have cars. The deterioration of any car is not as much as the last 5 years, the first 5 years or 4 years. Your machines may not be deteriorated that much. And so these are the facts available to me.
All right, you all come back to the program. It's Good Morning Ghana. And today, the guests with me are Shamima Muslim, whose position or as a designation has changed. You know, she keeps coming back onto this program with change designations and all. Evolution. Just evolution has taken place now.
Oh my God.
You're welcome. So she's come today as the deputy presidential spokesperson for the new government that we have. Shamima.
Be here.
I'm happy to have you.
I think it's my first time since my new designation.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. So glad to be here.
So glad to have you.
Once again, thank you to all those who've been behind me, supporting me, praying for me, encouraging me, and cheering me on since the announcement. It's a very profound responsibility. And with God on our side, we will do our best. Thank you so very much.
Right. All right. So let me also introduce Dr. Ikuya Amwako, and she is also a medical doctor and a member of the MPP communications team. Doc, you're welcome. Good morning to you well. I'm just waiting to see. You know, I've seen flyers from your party. Yes. People position hopeful persons. Yeah. And flyers are flying around.
Really?
Yeah.
So where's she heading to?
I haven't seen hers yet.
Are they going to go? Are you going to do early elections or something?
We haven't decided.
They haven't.
We haven't decided.
Yes, but you know, people are just. I'm sure they are testing the waters. Yes.
Are you testing?
She hasn't said. Are you testing? You don't know.
I'm paying for you.
Should we help you decide?
Because you know she's one of the few people who's Immediately after the loss, she didn't go to lick any wounds.
No. She didn't.
I mean, that's some stern stuff you're made of.
She didn't go into hibernation.
No, she didn't.
Well,
she didn't.
Somebody had to stay.
We wish you well.
Thank you.
That shows that you actually have the tenacity to withstand shocks
and tremors
and big gaps.
But yeah, I think
so it means that you can hold an office.
We'll decide. Where do you think I should? Where should I put my eye on? I haven't decided yet, so we'll see.
Send me messages.
Consultant.
Yes. Please.
Send her an invoice afterwards.
Are out there.
Okay.
Yes. Please send us messages. We want to figure out where, she can fit in and work effectively for the MPP.
Something comms related because she's already doing comms.
Oh, okay.
Oh, not?
We'll see.
Hey, this is
time will tell.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yes, indeed.
But let's see about that. I'm sure people will send messages. At the end of the show, you may have a clear mandate of where you should direct your next move, towards. Anyway, Sharima, I think I would like you to give us a bit of, as a deputy presidential spokesperson, on these headlines. In fact, I started seeing the headlines over the weekend about President Mahama and Gabriel Jedako. And I have seen very interesting headlines. In fact, there are people who even said that John Mahama is the one who organized the program for Gabriel Jedako. I said, hey, do you know the program you're talking about? I mean, last year, I got the opportunity to attend that program. So it's not a John Mahama organized program, please.
Well, but did it trend as much as it has trended
this year? It did. Last year it did.
No, in comparison. Annie, we've looked at the metrics in comparison.
Oh, which metrics did you look at? Some research has been conducted.
It's not
already.
even research. It's just the trending, the conversation, the platforms. And
okay.
it should be expected
because last year, the reason I'm saying that is,
headline.
Ibrahim Mahama was there. That was actually when I attended and I saw him there.
He's not the president.
Exactly.
Maybe the president
because
added a lot.
Occasion
and I think they have to extend world of gratitude to His Excellency for always being the bigger person.
For honoring the invitation.
And honoring the invitation. So again, thank you. Let me just speak a bit about it. So yes, over the weekend, His Excellency, the President of Ghana, who is leading the Ghana Reset Agenda and leading the charge to build the Ghana we all want together, attended a platform that many, even within our party, believe that you shouldn't have attended. Some people have expressed that because of the face behind that particular project. But let me just say that when you're a president of the nation, and sometimes there are some demands that are made of you that call for you to rise above whatever individual differences you may have with maybe some individuals who are behind the platform. It was an international event. There were visiting heads of state that were expected to be accorded all the protocols around, visiting head of state. His Excellency is the President of Ghana. In fact, on the Friday, we received the President of Comoros at the Jubilee House, and there were some bilateral, talks. Again, the NDC party and government received the Togo president, who was in, as well as Mrs. Zuma.
Yeah.
So there were high-profile international guests who were in the country, and we will not wash our dirty linens in public. So for all who are wondering why, it was the protocol expectation that His Excellency would grant respect to his colleagues, just as if he also traveled to their countries. Once he is in their country, he would be expected to, he would expect that they would grant him all the courtesies that are required of that, high office. There was a presidential forum as well, and so once he was in town, if he wasn't in town, there would have been no issue. But once he was in town, he couldn't leave his other colleagues by themselves in his country. He's the president of the republic. So I am very happy. I read a post by an MPP person praising His Excellency, John Dramani Mahama, that this is what nation building is about. you know, whereas that is good that the person recognizes that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is made of a different cut, a cut different from the leadership we have experienced over the years from people in similar positions, and the fact that he's always able to rise, you know, above himself and always look at the bigger picture, the national interest. I'm happy that it takes New Patriotic Party activists to give that commendation, because some people were of the strong opinion, and rightly so, that if the tables had turned, in the list, it was not going to be the president who would have honored it. They would probably have sent some other emissaries to represent the president. Because this is the nature of the governance we have had over the past 8 years, one that has been quite divisive and sometimes quite vicious against its opponents, and even fierce and suspicions, not even suspicion. People have experienced sabotage of their platforms because they have been perceived to be members of the opposing political party. This is how we build a nation truly. And it always takes the NDC, whether in opposition or in government, to always, you know, extend, you know, stand on a higher ground. And that's in no way should let people feel that this is the president, you know, playing hanky-panky with members of his opposition. No. If you listen to his speech, inherent in that speech were great calls for accountability. And you know that within this reset agenda, and the entire campaign of the NDC was heralded on jobs, accountability, and prosperity, you know, for all Ghanaians. Whilst we build the Ghana we want, we also have to be accountable to the people who put us, you know, in those positions, very hallowed positions of power to serve. And accountability also demands that people who are found to have done wrong by this nation will be held accountable. So the fact that the president appears on a platform that is known to be driven partly by, you know, a member of the New Patriotic Party doesn't mean that if there are accountability demands to be made of those individuals or members of the outgone government, it wouldn't be done. It will be done. We have an Attorney General in office, and he's already started work in earnest. Permit me to also use this you know, period to highlight on just what Ghana should expect of the leadership of His Excellency. I think that we have already felt the urgency of his turn and his tenure, and I'm happy that the Global Info Analytics, yes, the recent survey shows that His Excellency has an approval rating of about 84%. Of Ghanaians believe that whatever he's doing so far has set a good tone, and they are confident in what he's doing. What did he promise to do within the first 120 days? Within that first 120 days, His Excellency had promised that within 2 weeks he was going to nominate his cabinet. We're able to
hold on there, because
yes.
I would touch on this committee that you're talking about,
right?
And then we get into it's part of the research agenda, but this is part of the 120 days.
Yes, indeed.
Promise.
Yes.
So we'll get into that. Let me hear Kia on the Africa Prosperity dialogue. I think it's a good thing to start with. I don't know if you also add your voice to applaud the president for that. Well, show of leadership and unity.
Was there.
Yes.
And the majority leader of the party was there.
Yeah, so I think definitely it's a step in the right direction, because the theme of the summit even is self-explanatory. Prosperity of the whole region is something that should be important to all parties, especially the sitting government. So I do think it's a step in the right direction that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama decided to grace the event. The thing that is interesting is that I hope that that's, should I say behavior, that character will permeate through the whole structure of the new government and the NDC, so that hopefully the mudslinging can stop. We were all in this country when last week during the vetting, a lot of interesting things came up, like the Honorable Okudzeto Ablakwa admitting that his accusation of state capture involving the ex-president, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo's daughters, was a question he was asking. You can only imagine the amount of reputational damage that had already happened there for you to now clarify that you were just asking a question. So I just hope that this, I don't want to say new, this attitude of the president will permeate down to everybody around him so that we can stop mudslinging each other. There's also another interesting thing about, again, the Honorable Okudzeto Ablakwa trying to, I don't know what he was trying to do with bringing out some documents to show that the Honorable Afenyomarkin's property was on state land, which has also been proven to be false. So I just hope that this direction of...
What has been proven to be false? Afenyomarkin's property?
Yes.
Who proved it to be false?
Yesterday on Joy News. Joy News.
Afenyomarkin proved...
Yes, I think they did a background check at the land.
Who did the background
Joy
check?
News.
No, but Afenyomarkin himself admitted.
Yes, admitted.
At the committee.
He's leased the government property for 99 years.
Yesterday on the probe,
yes,
he had an interview with MFA, I think that's the name. Yeah. And he asked her if she had done the background check of the land, and the response was that it wasn't state land. You haven't seen that yet, but so that happened last night.
What I know is what he admitted to on the committee, which he himself even provided more information to how the property is like, how his building is, the size of his swimming pool. I mean, I saw that on the committee.
So maybe he was talking about, I think this was about a large plot of land somewhere in Winneba.
Yes.
Maybe he talked about different properties. So maybe the two we are discussing are different. But there was another contention about him having a property on state land that last night was proven to be false, which is becoming a trend of a lot of accusations that were made. So I'm just hoping that the mudslinging we've been doing against each other will stop. Because it has also come out that a few of them actually have their properties on state land. So why are we doing this to each other is what I always ask myself.
What are we doing to each other?
Why the mudslinging? If you also have a property on a state land that you purchased some time ago, and let's not behave like people started buying state lands in 2017. It's something that has been going on for a very long time. If the dialogue is that we should stop state officials from buying state lands, that's a different conversation that we are willing to have.
That's the dialogue.
To make it seem that between 2017 and 2024, there's been some state capture, like members of the MPP sat around the table and decided that let's acquire all the state lands in some deliberate attempt. That is what we are talking about. Because between 2009 and 2016, state lands were purchased. Between 2008 to 2009, state lands were purchased. So if we are now coming to say that, no, government officials should not buy state lands when they are in power or whenever, that should be the conversation. Don't create the impression that, oh, MPP people are state capturing.
Okay, so back to the Africa Prosperity Dialogue. Your point is what Mahama is doing should permeate through to the party, to the bottom.
Yes.
And I'm sure that that might go a long way, because for the vice president to have followed him to the program, for the majority leader to have followed him to the program, I'm sure it was a whip exercise that we are all going to that program. Yeah. So that's a message being sent across to the last person of the party.
I hope the message is very well received.
But we all know that this type of divisive politics is both sides.
Yes.
This one thinks that you did this to me, I'll reply you, I'll do the same thing to you.
As we have seen with the character of their members on the vetting committee. Really? You know, if you see even this morning, Annie,
the point I want to make, the point I want to make is that you should know that it will take time for party
We don't owe the
personnel.
New Patriotic Party any cooperation. We actually do not.
No, you do not.
You see
just
this
saying
morning,
that
even when you brought this matter up, you see why the character of the NDC and the MPP would never be the same. You see the non-committal way in which she couldn't even bring herself to acknowledge the significance of the decision of His Excellency to honor that platform. I can bet you, had it been President Akufo-Addo, he would not have attended that similar such platform. Putting it bluntly, even this morning, she couldn't be the bigger person. She had to swing off into other matters and try to reduce the significance of that action. And these are the behaviors that continue to anger the grassroots when they also make demands of their leaders to be more strict in their retaliation
of the things they have experienced under the 8 years of the Nana Bawumia government. If you truly want to come to equity, I would advise Doc to always endeavor to come with a modicum of clean hands, because we know, and she knows, the new Patriotic Party president will not have honored a platform that is perceived to be led by an NDC, a high-ranking NDC member, especially a few days, less than a month after leaving power. It would not have happened. We have seen it as their character. And so I am not saying that, and I just want to add that the NPP shouldn't think that they are also going to just have a free pass. Their government is under scrutiny within this first year of the review of their government and their actions. Wherever there are questions to answer, those questions will be answered. If we want to push this narrative of retaliation, who started, then you ask the question, where did it even start from? Who started it? Who started this adversarial politics? I don't want to go back into that kind of diatribe. Start on a clean slate from 1992. Who was in power? It was the NDC, which was the first government to come into power, that the NDC handed over. It was NPP. Which government set the tone for transitions and changeovers? It was the New Patriotic Party. By daylight, seizure of people's vehicles and throwing people out. So if we don't want to go there, because we have all agreed that in our body politics, there's been extremes on both ends. We want to build a nation, we want to move forward. So but the NPP never is...
I didn't finish my submission.
No, you did. You went into Ablakwa on the diatribe of Ablakwa, and we also, we saw how they embarrassed themselves. Just the day before, there was an altercation between a member of the minority side and a female appointee. And they took the matter to the floor of Parliament, hauling this person, before the what do you call it? The speaker. The speaker directed that they should haul her before the Privileges Committee. A day before, this same individual who was at the center of the, what is his name again? The Honorable Anodempre, is heard loud and clear, commanding his members to destroy state property. What levels of indiscipline is that? Is it not the same group of people that we saw chew ballot papers? Chew ballot papers in the last parliament. I'm saying that the NPP always presents itself as a party made up of people, I've heard this phrase that they're a party of equals, there is really no grassroots. No wonder. Because when you don't have grassroots in your party and you believe that your party is owned by the middle to upper class, these are the behaviors you present. These are the behaviors. And give me some minutes. If the NPP wants us to be, to accommodate them in this, 4 years, they must also come to the table with some level of humility, some level of proper attitude and behavior, because they are not in power. And indeed, they are a micro-minority. That is by fact of their numbers. And so they should also not
allow me
think
to go into the
that we cannot decide to use our numbers to push through everything we want.
I will engage.
They must not take the leniency of the NDC as its weakness.
Dr. Ike, I'll come back to you. I'll give you some more minutes, because I noticed that she took some of the time to respond to some of the issues you were raising. But the man who was in the middle of some controversy, prior to the elections, because he conducted polls which were denied, accepted by some other people, denied by other people, people wouldn't accept and all that. But it just turns out that his polls were accurate. And he's conducted another polls, this time on the performance of the vetting. And the outcome indicates that John Mahama's approval of the vetting is 84% in terms of his whatever the earlier actions and decisions he has taken. The path on which he's taken the country, people think that is good, and they scored him 84%. And disapproval was 9%. And also, no opinion, those who didn't hold any opinion by the sample size that was put together was 7%. Musa Dankwa is the Executive Director for Global Info Analytics. He's joined me via the phone lines. Let's speak to him to explain to us further what the latest poll conducted by his team is all about. Thank you, sir. You're welcome. Good morning to you. You're welcome to the program.
Good morning to you, Annie, and thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for making time. I know you're pressed with time, but you've made some time to speak to us. So, speak to us on this polls. Why was it very necessary for you to conduct this polls?
Annie, we are now a country of data. We want to speak with facts and data. We want to be able to compare the performance of President A and President B in year 1, year 2, year 3, and beyond. And by so doing, we are continuing with what we started in January 2022, which is asking Ghanaians about the performance of their president, how they see the direction of the country, and their standard of living as people, and whether they are optimistic things will improve in the next 12 months. So that in the future, we can compare on annual basis how each of the presidents were assessed. And that's why we are back doing this. And also, while at it, we took the opportunity to sample opinion regarding the work of the Committee of Appointment in Parliament, whether they are happy with it or they are not. And also the key personnel on the committee, the chairman and the ranking, how are they being assessed by the public? And finally, to assess or to ask voters whether they agree or disagree with the assertion that the vetting is being used to score political points. And I believe these are important matters Ghanaians would like to know the views of others.
Right. So now to the polls. The 84% are scored by John Mahama. Did you have the chance to compare it to the confidence polls you conducted some time back before the elections? And do you see a U-turn of that same population or percentage now believing that we are on the right path?
Right. That you have to look at the direction of the country.
Yeah, and I'm asking that because you're saying that we are now a country of data. So it means we need to be comparing as a when, yes.
Absolutely. When we ask voters whether Ghana was headed in the right direction or wrong direction, in January 2024, only 22% said Ghana was headed in the right direction. Today, January 2025, that number is now 70%. That is a whopping increase of huge number, more than 50%. And that difference is purely on the basis of new leadership. When we ask people the same question in 2024, January, 68% said Ghana was headed in the wrong direction. 68% said wrong direction. Today, that number is 16%. This can only be attributed to the presidency of John Mahama.
Now let's focus on the vetting. So it doesn't look as though the minority is in good pictures when it comes to the performance of what the vetting has gone so far. Just give us a brief of how. So you have performance of ranking and minority leader, Honorable Alexander Afenyo-Markin, who obviously has been very, gone viral as far as some of his questions and behaviors are concerned on the committee. Not satisfied, we are 44%. Not satisfied at all. Okay, not satisfied at all is 44%. Not satisfied is 20%. Somehow satisfied is 17%. Very satisfied, 11%. And extremely satisfied is 8%. Please, what does it mean?
It means that people are not happy with his performance on the committee.
So Afenyo generally scored 36%.
Yes, among all voters. The remaining 64% are dissatisfied with how he's performing his role on that committee. Remember, this is not about his role as minority leader, but his job, the job he's doing on the committee. Right. And if you look at that, this is reinforced by the responses they gave to us which tend to agree that the vetting is being used to score political points. If you look at the numbers, 77% of respondents believe that, or they agree that the vetting is being used to score political points, rather than used to assess the competence of the individuals who are going to man those roles.
And we also had 62% of voters satisfied with the work of the appointment committee, but nearly 38% dissatisfied.
Yes. So overall, the committee as a whole, which comprises of both minority and majority, are assessed much better than even the chairman of the committee. The chairman of the committee scores lower, about 56% approval, satisfaction, but Parliament committee as a whole is 62%. And then the least performing person on that, in terms of the ranking, is Akpenyum Martins.
Okay, so if you check the questions that Musa Danquah and his team shared for the survey, we had some questions like, in your view, do you think that the country is heading in the right direction? We also had questions like, I want the vetting questions. Are you optimistic your standard of living will improve? This is about the performance, right? The confidence.
This is about people's expectation for the next 12 months. Before the election, they had, in fact, a dim view. Only 32% thought in the next 12 months their standard of living will improve. Now that number has gone to 78%.
Wow. In terms of the minority performance, we've seen, maybe supporters or persons who believe in the posture of the minority as they're doing quite well. But the polls are showing otherwise, and if the data is anything to go by, do you think that the minority planned properly? Not necessarily scoring political points, but did they plan properly towards this vetting activity?
In my view, no. Because if you look at the opinion polls before the election, it showed clearly that Ghanaians were prioritizing economy, jobs, education, health, those for that much as priority.
Yes.
When you assume a role of opposition, those priorities have not changed. So I would have expected that their line of questioning should be really focused on these areas. And completely they missed that one out. And that's why the public are not happy with what they are doing. If you look at the questions that were asked, most of them had nothing to do with the work that they are going to do in their ministries. And that is why people are responding negatively to that.
Wow. You have a question? You want to ask something? Well, Mr. Musa Danquah, does it end there, or until we're done, we can't conclude yet, no?
What we're going to be doing is another survey in April, which by then we will have known exactly what has happened or transpired on the committee for the entire period. Then we can assess the committee again, reassess Akpenyum Martins, reassess the chairman of the committee, and indeed the key appointees who appeared before them. We will see how the voters perceive their performance on the committee.
Has the minority seen this polls?
The whole world has seen it.
Have they seen it? None of them has communicated to you?
No, usually we don't open ourselves to be interrogated by people who may be happy or unhappy about polls. We can go to the reports. We have reports are complete. If you have this issue, you can send us email and we will respond to that.
So if they sort of want more information, say facts behind the figures, they can't deal with you?
What we haven't put out there is analytics, maybe demographic analytics, but everything is out there in terms of the response of gender, age, party affiliation. Those ones we haven't put them out there. But everything that you need to know is there. The questionnaires have been attached for a good reason, so they will see exactly what questions were asked and how they were asked. And then we indicate the methodology that was used to get the report. It is there. And I don't believe anybody can now criticize our methodology again, because besides everybody else, We were the only one that got my methodology right. So I think the issue of methodology have been put to bed.
Mr. Musa Danquah, we'll leave you here. Thank you. We'll engage you again. Thank you as you continue with your polls. We're grateful for your time. If there's nothing for you to add, we can let you go.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you very much. Mr. Musa Danquah is the Executive Director for Global Info Analytics. At least so far, he's giving us some accurate data in the past. So going forward, all the data he's gathering, we may want to consider and use it in making decisions. Ikea.
Respond to Shamima's earlier blitzkrieg. I don't think there's anything wrong with seeking to clarify when somebody's character has been assassinated repeatedly, especially during the campaign period. This is the time where some of these things can be corrected. So I don't see anything wrong with talking about that. And it's just becoming a mark of the NDC now. Obviously, the tolerance of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is really not permeating down, because they are not really exhibiting that from Parliament to here to everywhere. And the one thing that's very important.
Do you recognize a tolerance level at John Mahama as president? I mean, a tolerance character at this level. Do you recognize?
No, definitely. By him deciding to show up at the Africa Prosperity Summit, it's something that is very,
a good thing.
Yes, it's a sign of tolerance. That's where I even started my submission from. But there's nothing else to say about that. So I'm going on to talk about what was actually on my mind, which is the false allegations that were repeatedly leveled against members of the MPP. And now it is on them to prove these allegations. It seems to be a mark of the NDC. Whenever they want political power, they have to create the impression that everybody in power is corrupt. That is what needs to stop. Why can't we just go back to discussing issues and thinking about ways to improve the lives of Ghanaians? Why does it always have to be that you are corrupt, you've stolen state lands, especially when most of these are frivolous and without evidence?
Who do you blame for the inability to prove right or wrong on the committee? Who do you blame for that performance of the nominees who were taken to sit before?
Which one? The ones who couldn't identify their source of income. I don't understand.
Whichever conclusion you want to, because the media has also conducted its own polls on the performance, and maybe it might be in tandem with Global Info Analytics, because we didn't get the outcome we all wanted, really. But who do you blame for that?
For not getting, I don't understand the question.
Because you are accusing the persons who appeared before the committee for their inability to prove somebody right or wrong, or to prove the allegations.
For their inability to prove allegations they had previously leveled against people.
Yes, and I'm saying, is that a committee that you wanted? I mean, I can understand that sometimes it has to check the character of the persons who are put in office.
Yes, it's for credibility.
Yeah, I agree.
Because, you know, the interesting thing is at the same time, the vetting of the nominees in the US are going on. So that's something I've been following too. A lot of questions are posed based
on character.
Yes, on the character and credibility of the nominees. Sometimes even more than where they are going to. The people even printed emails, because beyond what plans you have for the ministry, it's also very important that we know who we are choosing as our leaders. Are they people that will wake up one day and make a Facebook post that can literally ruin someone's career without having any evidence? Those are also important things.
You're not sure of that?
No, but he couldn't. He said it was a question and he didn't have. Honorable Okujeto, about Nana Akufo-Addo's daughters. That was clear. I don't think he provided any evidence to that.
That to a question he posed?
No, he said when he said that the land for Nsiomunam and the next one, I can't remember, I think the loft, was state lands that were acquired. He was asking a question. But that's not what the post, that's not the kind of sentiments that the post played out earlier during the campaign. So obviously it was intentional to create disaffection at that time. And there's a lot of that going on, a lot of allegations.
But you know, you cannot continue complaining about character assassination and you don't go to court.
Oh yeah, so I think the people that have been character assassinated would do what is needful.
Because persons like...
I'm actually hoping that more of that happens. If somebody says something about you that is not true, I actually hope that Jaimaninka attitude of Ghanaians goes to rest.
So because for the likes of us who continuously work with people like Sam George, like Ablakwa, like who else was making allegations on the committee? Let's say Ato Fortson. They don't just get up, like you said. You just get up and go and post. No. And it's not, I think it's not fair to their person. Sometimes even to ask questions and to tweak people's minds, they know what they're talking about.
Yeah, but Annie, this is the case where, especially on these very specific allegations, they haven't been able to back it.
But this committee is not a committee of investigation of allegations somebody has made.
So you come before the vetting committee, you are asked a question, you made this post, do you have anything to back it? Then you say you were asking a question.
If I have documentary
I mean, you can just imagine, or Shamima, someone writes,
it's still alleged.
I've seen, he didn't even come to say it was alleged. He said that he was asking a question. He was just posing a question. But you can imagine, Annie, I take my phone right now and I make a tweet about how, yes, I've heard that you've bought some lands in Roman Ridge.
It will be irresponsible until and unless you have some documentary evidence.
Exactly, and but no documentary evidence was. He said that he was asking a question
based on the information
if he was very sure about the information he had, why do you then come and say you were asking a question? I'm very everything that's going on is very interesting. I'm hoping that with all this oral that they've been parading for the past months, they are able to provide evidence. Or if not, what you are doing is mass persecution. Right. And when members of the NDC go on a tirade of mass persecution, we are actually afraid. Because we know what they are capable of.
You must be afraid of your own shadows. No, they are afraid of their own shadows. They probably know what they've done to this country.
So can we go into the number, especially coming from your roots as PNDC?
They know exactly.
Should we go into
Should we go to your bomb throwing days?
No, I'm just saying that
if you want to go back, when your forebears destroyed this country, let's not go to your bomb throwing days.
What are you afraid of? She's barely letting me talk.
Saying that we should go.
No, for somebody that comes from a family who was personally persecuted, when you wake up again and you see that what is going on again seems to be like another tirade of persecution. What I am hoping right now is that these oral persecutions are backed by evidence.
Should be crying.
Okay, let me just SD Dombo, during the PNDC era, what happened to him? The man had to go into exile with the clothes on his back, his wife, and nothing else.
What did he do?
All his property. Ask me.
I'm asking you.
No, there was no allegation. And it's not just that. We can talk about Poku Trans. I just don't like naming names, but people are aware of these things that happen. Watching Matres, Poku Transport, all of these had to run away. No, I'm just saying that all of these happen. So when you come again with another agenda of persecution, we hope that you are backing it with evidence so that you are not just ruining the characters of people. So now that it has come out that the Nsiobunam land was purchased, someone had purchased the land years ago, and they bought it from that person. Are you going to apologize to them for misleading the public to thinking that they had purchased?
Is it a state land that person bought?
No, so why didn't you name that person? Or are you not getting where I'm talking about?
Whether you
bought a state land that was bought by somebody
and you also bought it,
so does that cancel out the fact that it was that person? No, and you buy from that person.
Let's not stretch these matters into absurdity.
Her father's administration, she used that purpose to buy state lands. If you are looking at that, all the lands in cantonments, Roman Ridge and Co., they all started as state lands.
Look,
private developers have been buying these lands. Even the same Honorable Okujeto Ablakwa took Jake to court when the first time they came into, I think 2009 or 2010, over an issue of state land, and he lost the case because at that time it is not illegal to purchase state lands. It might be something that is troubling for us to see that, oh, somebody bought prime land for 160,000 cities. That is something that should be looked into.
But that court case you're talking about, that court case you're referencing, did you read the judgment into details, what the judges actually said after the ruling, even though he lost the case?
No, but the point is that the case was thrown out, isn't that? I don't really have full details.
It's not just the point. Sometimes when we take issues and we look at it just from the face value, it doesn't do the nation any good.
I mean, do you agree that if
because even the judges admitted that going forward, this practice of state properties being sold and being hijacked should be a thing of the past.
That's exactly what I've been saying here.
And that is what his campaign has
let's discuss it. But to come and say that something that is not illegal as we speak, something that members of the NDC have done, something that members of the MPP have done, something that private developers do, and to make it seem like state capture, we sat around the table and we said we are taking all the cantonment lands. Is that also fair?
It is, to the extent that, okay, now let me make a couple of points. there's a point in which I would agree partly with the foundational argument. The issue about state capture and buying of state lands has often not been a legal argument, because to the extent that there's an offer and there's an acceptance and you know, there's a consideration and people acquire the land through the right, you know, methods, you cannot say it is illegal. It has always been an ethical and a moral conversation. I'm saying that in the past 8 years, this conversation about state lands has been ongoing for a long time. And there are people, there are NDC members, there are NPP people who have acquired state lands. It was a major campaign issue 8 years ago for the New Patriotic Party. You see, the problem is that you cannot reprobate and approbate. You came on the back of an anti-corruption campaign. That is the campaign His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, former president, and Bawumia waged before they came into power. They promised a lot of reforms. They promised to end the so-called state capture. They promised to end nepotism. They promised to, you know, halt all of these ills that had were deteriorating our democracy. And then what happens when they come to power? We find they come and perpetuate the same things that they spoke against in even more severe ways. This is the problem. You see, Dr. Akua sits here and asks of the NDC to come with good behavior, when what they keep serving us is bad behavior after bad behavior. Let me come back to the parliamentary vetting. Again, using this opportunity to condemn in no uncertain terms the blistering attack that the minority leader, Afenyo Markin, gave to the clerk of the parliament, clerk of the appointments committee. We all saw it on television. Very blistering, very unbecoming of an MP to attack a woman in the words and in the manner that Afenyo Markin did. And this was coming a day after the hue and cry about Emefa calling, I always forget his name, and we were all in student leadership together when he contested, you know, for Nook's president. Anodompre cries that he has been attacked, a man has been attacked in his own homestead by a citizen, and that was very unparliamentary and bad behavior, to the extent that NDC MPs also found reason to condemn the action of Emefa. Watch the difference in behaviors of the NPP and NDC. That when there is a problem that people agree shouldn't have happened, NDC members on the floor of Parliament publicly condemned one of their own. A day after, we hear Afenyo Markin attacking this clerk of Parliament in very unprintable language because he perceives her to be a pro-NDC clerk.
Is that why he attacked?
Yes. He said she was a pro-NDC clerk who was doing things in the interest of the NDC and was trying to disenfranchise them from participating in the process. How a clerk can do that, that one, we leave it to the public. It is in the same sense that our MPs haven't always lived up to their own standards that they expect ordinary citizens who put them there to live up to. If you are a representation of the people, at all times you must be living above reproach, setting better examples that the citizens would follow, you know, your lead. It is in the same sense that the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, when he was addressing this matter, had cause to remind the MPs that respect is earned. To whom much is given, much is expected. That if the MPs and Parliament want to be respected by the citizens of Ghana, they themselves must first respect themselves and respect the citizens of Ghana. I would like to draw your attention to the fact that this Global Info Analytics report, yesterday I watched the probe and I heard the Honorable Afenyo indicate. So I'm not surprised that he has gotten the lowest, mark in terms of the assessment or the perceptions of the general public, because he has made it clear that he is there to represent the interest of the micro minority, and that he has godfathers within the party. No, he didn't say he's there to represent the micro minority. He's there to represent the party, the party's interest. You didn't watch the probe last night. Oh, he said that on the probe, that he's representing the micro minority. He won't use micro minority. He said that he says that the minority and that the happy minority. So he's representing happy minority. It's a minority, but they are a micro minority. Please, let's not, they are just other issues. But he says that he's representing a happy minority, and that they will not be bullied, and that he has the NPP is a party of equals, and so you need to consult people, and there are people who give him feedback. So I think that his accountability partners are members of his party, not Ghanaians. They still have not woken up to the reality of what Ghanaians expect. And that is why Ghanaians have given him this mark. He will not be bothered about what Ghanaians think, because even as at yesterday, he poo-pooed when MFA was trying to ask him a question based off on the report. He poo-pooed it. He says that it's a political season, and the surveys are, yes, as at yesterday, he still was not ready at all to hear. He the report again. He was not ready to hear anything the report had to say about him or his conduct. He was interested only in what the people he was representing felt about so then I want the execution of his work. Musa Dankwa gave me that response. He said exactly. The response is available for everybody to see. So again, that's what I'm saying. So I'm not sure he will be bothered at all by what Ghanaians think about his performance once his party is happy at the way he's representing. Again, it is up to us Ghanaians to see if this is what we should be doing with a vetting, committee. Here we are again trying to bring back issues of Ablakwa making claims. At that vetting, we all watch, unless we watch a different thing. There is nothing Ablakwa has said in the public sphere that he didn't have any documentary, backup for. And as we said here, there are always allegations. Everybody is innocent until proven guilty in the court of law. But there's always a reasonable grounds for which we have to take matters to the law court or, further investigate matters. So the issue again about state land has never been a legal conversation. It's about the moral and ethical conversation. The party that has come into opposition over the past 8 years is the New Patriotic Party. If they were minded to ensure a strict, enforcement, of these standards, or even if they were minded to desist from what has pertained in the past 8 good years, what reforms did they propose on this specific matter of state capture or politicians buying and acquiring state property and state lands? We saw on TV, Chinye having bought a lot of state land. So I'm saying that you cannot reprobate and approbate. And NPP always tries to give us a semblance that they are the real, true Democrats. And my sister here attempts to denigrate again or bring back the PNDC regime for mention. No one will sit here and justify the excesses of any military administration. Excesses, of course. But there was excesses. I was always excesses. So I've always thought about this. That even apologies made. Yes. So I've always thought about this. The PNDC. I'm sorry. I just want to ask this question. The PNDC regime. Even before that, there was a particular agenda that the PNDC regime was pursuing, which had excesses, of which the PNDC regime apologized for those excesses. But there was a particular thing it was trying to achieve. What was that? What do you mean? I don't know what was the somebody's property could possibly. I don't know. Why do you think that they went
after properties.
See, Annie, that's not my
Please,
place.
let's not derail the conversation. Annie, let me finish my train of thought.
I'm beginning to think that it's becoming a cycle where maybe this time it won't take the turn as the PNDC regime took. But it's becoming a cycle where every time you go out of
with
office,
all due respect
the
to
new
you,
regime,
no, hey,
I don't want to use the word persecution.
Annie, I'm not going to even let you create this narrative, please.
What
don't
narrative?
let us go into this don't pander into these recall of PNDC into NDC.
No.
Please do not. And I was also making a point. Let me just wrap up. Yes,
I'm not pandering to.
Don't
I'm not pandering to what they are saying.
It's complete
I'm
mischief.
just saying that
if we
why
hold them
is it
to
that
same
when
standards,
you leave
they will
office,
fall on their
when you
force.
leave office,
Who? When leaves office?
when the MPP, yes, when the MPP, UP, MPP, when you leave office, there's always the attempt to sort of
because they have been property owning.
They
have always been
exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. That there's always some attempt to win back what people suspect has been taken by party.
But to be fair,
players.
It's not only them. It's not only them. Yes. As we have all agreed, there's been state properties, because of a deliberate government policy. Because again, before in the period of the colonial, times. Era. Ghana and Accra has grown. Our population has more than quadrupled since independence period. And so a lot of these government bungalows were sitting on very large tracts of land. So they needed to be a program of redemarcating, these. So there was a national program which has been abused over the years because obviously we need space. We cannot, leave large spans of land for just even government workers, they can't find, housing. So there's a housing deficit. So there was an intendment behind that, program, which we all today agree has been abused over the years. But to sit here and act victim when you forget about your bomb throwing forebears, very hurtful times, as you will cry and now empathize with your experience and even, apologize for the pain you may have gone through, you should also not discount the pain of Nkrumah's children and everything that happened to people from that 1966 as a result of your 4 years forward, march in collaboration with the CIA that brought about Ghana's first coup. Ghana's first coup, and I would say that was also the beginnings of Ghana's retrogression because it was like, if not you, then not us. Okay, and if you look at the Nkrumah regime, whatever the excesses were in terms of what the criticism against Nkrumah's tenure, if we look at his impact and legacy, today, that same man, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, is it not the Africa of the millennium? It was a century and a year now is the millennium. Yeah. His works are still there up to today, so that's not to justify whatever human rights abuses that may have happened at that time. But we must desist. We must desist from this very mischievous stance of always trying to draw in the PNDC. Let me remind us again, PNDC is the one that transitioned Ghana to the 1992 Fourth Republic. It was PNDC that led the formation of the 1992 Constitution, which the NPP refused to participate because they were not willing to sit around the table with market women and traders to think up a constitution for Ghana. Let me also add that it was the same PNDC that ensured after the smooth transition to, of course, as a country moving from a military regime to a democratic regime, there will be a certain storming. There will be a certain storming before the norm. But I'm saying with other African countries, PNDC or NDC could have decided to perpetuate and then push this country into the brink of a very long civil war. Today, that Fourth Republican Constitution is 32 years and standing strong. We must have done something right in spite of what the earlier challenges and excesses may have been. It is NDC that ran an election and handed over peacefully to the Kufuor administration. When Kufuor came into power, everything NDC did was evil, was bad, was wrong. Laws that were in our books that had never been activated, causing financial loss to the state. Former President Kufuor jailed former NDC appointees. For 8 years, they set the tone for what will now become the tone of transitions and takeovers. Look at what has transpired under our transition. During their time, 8 years ago when they came to power, anytime there was a briefing, they came after the handing over notes, they would come to the general public and then make, statements based on things that they had not yet received, queries they had made to the various ministers. Do you know how many ministers had to go to BNI for several times, to the Ghana Police, EOCO, many times? But have we seen that? We have wanted, and that is the leader we have.
All right.
The transition process has been very smooth. We are looking into the books. Ministers will take charge, and then we will present the real state. We will not rush, and we have not rushed to come and do any media propaganda to try to, paint the New Patriotic Party black. And yet you continue to demand good behavior from the NDC when they have proven good behavior. When Mills came to power, he allowed MMDCs to stay in office for over 6 months. He said he was not interested in witch hunt, even though there were arguably cases to answer. None of the former appointees under the Kufuor era was jailed like those who were jailed under, the NDC era. Let me just wrap up.
Land.
And the late Evans Atta Mills ushered Ghana into a new era of building this country together. Then they came in power again and started the whole deterioration and very acidic relation with their opponents. And this is where we are today. Even with all that pain, with the collapsing of so many businesses of your opponents, with all that pain, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama still says that we will let due process deal with the situations. If you don't have a good word for us, do not try to be mischievous and try to bring in extraneous matters that you yourself cannot hold if we were to hold your tradition.
I'll let you respond to some of the issues he's raised, but to embark on the reset agenda, President Mahama appoints an 8-member team and given them 2 weeks to plan a national education forum. And, as part of our educational research, when the new government came in, there were issues with the free SHS, to be specific. This one is on a larger scale. What the team will have to do, this 8-member team will have to do, will have to hold a forum to revamp the whole educational sector. But specifically on free SHS, there were food problems where there's a headline that says government to prevent future food shortages under the free SHS. And so government will have to work double to make sure that there's always food, and healthy food for that matter. I'm very,
in good quantity.
Concerned about that. And so Felix Kwachiofosu, acting spokesperson for the President, John Mahama, has assured that going forward, the government will put adequate measures in place to address the shortages, the shortfalls in feeding under the free SHS program, and this follows a release of 200 million Ghana cedis to address the shortfalls about 2 weeks ago. Kwachiofosu highlighted the poor planning and the implementation of education policy by the SWAL government. So as part of the educational, maybe research, 8-member team given 2 weeks to plan national education. The President, John Dramani Mahama, has appointed 8-member committee to organize the National Education Forum, fulfilling his pledge to people of Ghana. The committee, chaired by the former Vice-Chancellor of the University of Cape Coast, Professor George K.T. Odro, has 2 weeks to submit its reports and plan. Now, the other members are Professor Godski Alabi, Professor Rosemary Bosu, Samuel Awuku, PhD, Professor Smile Jesse, and we also have the rest are Kofi Asare, our old man we've been dealing with, especially when it comes to educational matters, and Stephen Owusu, and Inusa Shiraz, also member of the committee. Planning committee terms of reference includes develop theme and sub-themes to guide the stakeholder engagement, identify key stakeholders in the educational sector, including students, parents, teachers, pre-tertiary and tertiary, including private sector, researchers, civil society organizations, blah, blah, blah. And it goes on, religious bodies are all part. And then develop stakeholder activity agenda with time allocation, propose a venue and date for the forum, set up the secretariat to document activities, provide a budget for the National Education Forum, and also develop a comprehensive report detailing the findings and recommendations of the forum. drafts the national policy framework and propose an action plan for the implementation. Also consider any other issues relevant to the organization of the forum, is signed by Felix Kwashiorkor. So let's take a quick break. We'll be back shortly, and then we get into those issues as well. Okay, I'll give you some time to make the responses, but we'll be back shortly.
You are using subject members to do.
Yes. You think you are partisan clerk? You are doing
Honourable members, can there be some order?
If the clerk thinks that she's a party clerk. Yes. There was a call for a meeting. The chief whip called for a meeting for us to engage in agreement.
Who are you? Who are you? Charlie, I'll be you from the future. Who doesn't sleep on that slice of bread before mattress anymore? Don some slippers, then follow me. It is part of the mattress we did the front there. Yeah? That'll be the mattress where the dead for me.
Wait, what are you doing? Wow! No damage at all.
Not only durable, but also super comfortable. Come on, try it.
Nothing day like Ash Foam. Enjoy full body support and unparalleled comfort for a restful sleep.
Don't forget your keys.
Get the premium sleep experience with mattresses from Ash Foam. Visit any of our showrooms nationwide or at ashfoam.com.
Attention all farmers. Are you ready to take your crops to the next level? Introducing 3 effective organic composts that will revolutionize your farming practices. ACAP, KCAP and IRECOP brings to you the ultimate solution for your fertilizer needs. Introducing the ACAP Grade A, KCAP Equiafua Jinkwa, and the IRECOP with cocoa blends, palm blend and mulch. These are made from locally sourced municipal solid waste, and these are the perfect choice for sustainable farming. Join the organic revolution today. Boost your crop yield, improve soil health, and support sustainable farming practices. Choose ACAP, KCAP, and IRECOP organic compost for a greener and bountiful harvest. For your purchase and more information, call the numbers on your screen. Our products are endorsed by COCOBOD, Planting for Food and Jobs, and the Ministry of Food and Agriculture.
Customer, I don't know who to say.
Malaria been actually me, man. No more man, still.
One of them give us.
Give us a solid.
Yeah, sorry. What lost of so give us here and don't come down.
But so good as so. But tomato give us the and some down.
Give us about me, sir.
If I try the and some down.
Customer. Give us a ton down.
Onuya kayo oba wa fa furo nom de o ma no banu fo nom akwada wa ni fie dumie no ono nso nom.
This is Coastal Park, a well-demarcated gated community carved out to host your residential and commercial properties. With a minimum of 40,000 Ghana cedis, you too can own a piece of this serene site.
It's just 50 minutes drive from the Central University College, as well as just some 5 minutes drive from the Ningo Senior High School. More so, just in case you live somewhere in Adam and you want to take that excursion to many of those areas along the Volta estuary, this is the right property for you to invest in.
Great news from Estate Masters Limited. We're running a 10% discount promo on all sites to celebrate our 10th anniversary. Join in the celebration by becoming an Estate Master. Enjoy benefits such as free site visits throughout the duration, free indenture, and free site plan. Contact us for more information. Remember, T's and C's apply. Estate Masters Limited, your most preferred estate partner.
You're the answer to my prayer. You're with me everywhere. You're my angel, miracle. You're all I need tonight. Give me shelter from the rain. You breathe life in me again. You're my angel, miracle. You're all I need to know tonight.
Welcome back. Okay, so we've said that one day we'll just put out the behind the scenes.
It will get us into trouble.
There was one time that our mics were on. Do you remember?
Yes.
We were safe.
I hope you didn't say
we were very safe because we were very measured. Anyway, so you're welcome back. Okay, I'll let you, give you some 3 minutes.
Okay.
To respond, and then we're going to the reset educational
fund. So good.
I don't even think I'll need up to 3 minutes.
Okay, then 1 minute.
Yes, because a lot has been said. If we want to go into everybody's nitty-gritties of what happened, I don't think we'll finish today. But I think
I actually gave you that because she took some of your time. So.
Yeah. So the issue of the clerk being attacked and everything that happened in Parliament, I think the Minority Caucus has already apologized for some of the things that happened there. What it was is that
the minority.
Yes, there's been apology. I think
to the clerk.
No, not to the clerk. No, talking about the
vetting.
Yes, the I don't want to call it the
It wasn't a minority apology. It was a clerk chairman.
The fight. No, even the Honorable Kojo Oponkoma. Yes. So
he made an an apology?
Yes, on a radio or TV station. It's
yeah, but we will not take it as a minority apology.
Okay, we'll prepare an apology. It's obvious that...
I didn't hear that from Kojo Pongfimo, but I think...
It's obvious that whatever...
To be taken as a minority apology must come from the minority leader.
Don't worry. I think even yesterday he might have said it, but I don't remember exactly why. I think he might have said it. Yes. It's obviously something that we have to condemn, everything that happened in Parliament and whatnot. But it's also becoming the bullying and the posturing from the majority side is also something that we should look into.
From the who?
From the majority side.
Bullying?
I mean, can you imagine that at 11:30, almost 12 p.m., after vetting 6 people, when initially the agreement was to vet, I think, 3 or 4, that's when you want to swear in the honorable nominee for health.
No, okay, you have your fundamentals and your facts wrong.
No, that is... No. Which part is wrong?
No. All those people who were scheduled to be vetted were on the program.
Yes, but that is in dispute. That is in dispute. The honorable minority leader, Honorable Afenyo Marking, said there were 4. They've said it repeatedly.
Oh. Please.
He said they agreed that they amended.
Please hold on.
They amended to add 2.
Please hold on.
Yes, so how did they want to amend to add another 2?
Afenyo Marking had gone on radio.
It was the 6th.
The day before, so the morning before Ablakwa's vetting. And he made certain comments. And Ablakwa even fumed at the vetting committee and said, you sounded as though I was smuggled in.
Yes, I saw that.
And he apologized for even all those comments.
Yes, but
which meant that even if they amended, Ablakwa was supposed to be on the vetting.
No, that doesn't mean... The fact that he apologized for using that does not mean that...
He was supposed to be vetted.
No, does not mean that they agreed to 8. This is the official communication from the minority side of Parliament that I'm telling you. That initially, the agreement was to vet 4. Then it was amended for 2 to be added. And at that point, at 11:30, 12, come on.
Okay, so hold on. So let's...
no, don't say that
they didn't agree. They agreed.
And you had just done 3 hours of
that they had agreed to vet.
So they agreed. They were only fighting because of the time.
No, that's not the official communication from the minority side.
To who?
The agreement.
That official to who?
Yes, to
Is
everybody.
it to communicators or
to everybody? I'm telling you what the official communication from the minority side was. There was never an agreement to vet.
Hold on. Afenyo Marking was on the committee when the chairman was setting the record straight. That is Honorable Ahiafo, the rights deputy speaker. He was setting the record straight when Afenyo Marking was sitting right there, and he said everything that these people were scheduled to, be vetted. And following that, he apologized to how Ablakwa felt. And Afenyo Marking was there. He didn't say anything.
Well, then,
so I don't know what you're referring to.
No, well, that is not. That's not the
so because the fight in any case, if you even think that they were not programmed, let's assume without admitting, they were not programmed to be. Is that how to go about it?
No, obviously. So that's why I started with an apology. Okay. You have to apologize, then you explain what happened. Because it was obvious that the majority wanted to bully their way to sort of create a situation where the minority will just boycott. And then the rest goes on. The vetting of the other 2 nominees goes on without them.
But
that is something that they wanted to avoid.
If you watch everything that has happened,
and we apologize for our behavior in Parliament.
This committee, who is doing the bullying?
I think it depends on which side of the. What do you mean? I don't understand the question. Would you think that the honorable minority leader is bullying?
Watch the vetting as Annie, not as MPP, not as NDC.
Oh, I usually watch it as a fair-minded. As a fair-minded. That's all.
Who is doing the bullying?
I don't think
a fair-minded elephant.
I think the chairman. He's had his days, but he's generally been quite fair. Okay. That I admit.
So who is doing the bullying?
I don't think if what you are trying to get out is that the minorities bully, I don't think they were bullying at all.
You are the one who is using the word bullying.
Yes,
so
but
I'm asking you.
Trying to force people.
Have an understanding of what it is.
Yes.
Trying to have
admitted that the chairman
have vetting of 8 people at 12 p.m. Is that not bullying?
Equia, how do you feel?
About
who does that on the platform? Who does that on the vetting platform? How do you feel?
Shamima, please. I'm just saying, like, if we are all here, then we know we're supposed to close at 10. Then at 10, you bring in 2 new guests that we should continue sparring for another 2 hours.
So you know that we are closing at 10, but you decide you alone will question somebody for 3 hours.
130.
We are in a democracy.
At 10.
In a democracy in Parliament, when a nominee is brought, questions are allowed to be asked. Can we just stop this behavior of thinking that some questions asked by people or like the vetting was too long? You vetted Ken Ofori-Atta for 2 days. Did you not?
Oh, okay, we hear.
And like this is the
we didn't vet Ken Ofori-Atta
for 2 days.
There
were circumstances.
What were the circumstances?
We did not vet Ken Ofori-Atta for 2 days.
So what happened?
You know 2 days.
He had 2 sittings.
Do you know 2 days?
That's 2 days.
It's not 2 days.
So was he vetted in 1 day?
No, you are specific with the time. You said 2 days. So
let her drink some water.
When someone is vetted for 5 hours, what's the problem? That's the only opportunity that Ghanaians are going to have. It would not have been a problem
if you tell
see
us
the
now
nominees
that,
like that. So what is wrong if the
so on what basis
thorough?
do we book 6 people if we think that we are going to do 8 hours for one person?
And one thing you guys also have to commend is the speed at which we vetted your nominees. That's not something you want to commend us for. The speed at which we
Oh no, I'll commend you for that. I mean, yes.
We are not trying to be distracted. We actually wish you guys well.
You will be. You are.
So this one says that, Annie, good morning. I'm appealing to the new Minister of Lands and Mineral Resources to act swiftly to save the TDC for game and wildlife, which is within the Ramsar site at Sakumono, and the people are encroaching. Let us join hands to protect the Ramsar site and birds project. Thank you. Alhaji Haruna from Ashama sent that in. This one says that Musa Batwa says, good morning, Annie. The Speaker's decision to direct a 7-member committee to commence a full criminal investigation into the suspend the 4 MPs from vetting committee is a step in the right direction. The vetting process, particularly the conduct of the micro-minority, has raised concerns about fairness, as it appears some members have allowed personal biases to influence their judgments of certain nominees. This move will help restore credibility, ensure impartiality, and uphold the integrity of the vetting process. Annie, okay, this is not so clear. Let me jump to the next one. Honorable Atabwadi says that, good morning, Annie. The Exton Cubic Mobile, owned by Ibrahim Mahama, Heritage Bank, and radio stations owned by NDC and many others were destroyed by Nana Bawumia government. I can assure you, if this dialogue was organized by Ibrahim Mahama or President John Dramani Mahama, the NPP regime, they would not have stopped. They would have stopped it. Remember the Cheddar program, it was stopped for no cogent reason.
In the state.
So what she is talking about, what is she talking about? She should not irritatingly annoying people this morning. You can even acknowledge, okay, you can't even acknowledge the good gesture and togetherness JDM is doing for His Excellency John Dramani Mahama inaugural speech praising Nanado. Okay. Ambassador Sampiale said that I know you're not discussing this, but let me clear this for my chest. I have seen some people trying to rebuild the infamous statute of shame, Akufo-Addo, at the Sekondi roundabout, but I can assure you that they can build the statute 199 times, and we shall break it 199 times. Ambassador Sampiale, I think this is wrong, because the statute was built with the president in the noon, then the minister, the chiefs, and the people of the area. If it has to be brought down, it must be by some authority sanctioned. I don't think that it's right, and it has to be, entertained. So let's do the right thing, I think. Good morning, Annie. I am Eben from Kwabinya. The micro-minority claiming the Speaker has no power to sanction them who has to sanction, then who has to take them on for their misbehaviors? When the public dish them, they have the power to drag us to them for questioning, right? Asembeba Debi, greetings to Honorable Elipli Makuglu, you say, and Dr. Tony Obing. The message, okay, from Ilyasu Tamale. Hey, Ilyasu, how are you? Good morning to you. Good morning, Annie. What happened in Parliament last week is blamed squarely on the minority. After listening to both sides, the simple question to the minority is, what would have spoiled if they agreed to continue the next day? Did they expect to subject the chiefs and imams that accompany the nominees to sit through the vetting that was likely to travel into the midnight going forward, they should let consensus lead. I agree with you. Yesterday, someone raised a question. Why it has become so necessary that wives, families, chiefs, and everybody must be following nominees. What do you think of that question? What's
that day?
Heckling no.
By the supporters.
Okay.
So they increase security, and apparently a lot of the minority members could not even leave the House of Parliament.
Okay. Ambassador Edith Hazel, good morning to you, ma'am. I hope you're well. She says that I was invited by Ablakwa to his vetting scheduled for Thursday at 1 p.m. We waited till 7:30 p.m. when he was called to appear before the committee, and then we proceeded there only for the drama to ensued, and he was called to be vetted that evening. That's why he went there. I was in the hall that night. She lost her husband recently.
Yes, Auntie.
Yes. Yes, so our condolences. Anyway, thank you for the message, Ambassador. All right, so someone says, I felt sorry for Honorable Ablakwa reading the so-called St. Francis prayer, especially when he doesn't share the same faith with the minority leader. I'm not surprised at the happenings thereafter.
I actually have a problem with appointees being told to read.
Yeah.
To read statements before questions are asked. If you have a question, in fact, I have a problem with it. If you have a question and you have your document, you, the questioner, should read whatever passage. You don't invite me to read. Okay, read. Stop there. Then you ask me a question. Then read. You know, it's please.
Well, it's I
no,
think
but
what's the problem you have with it? Because I think it's a probing skill.
Yeah.
You have to see the document and identify that
this
is my document. Yes, I authored these.
But don't ask me to read it. You are the questioner. So ask me the questions that you have.
Just so you can admit that, okay,
it is not all, as you're saying, people were actually even read things that they didn't author. So the principle is not reading what you
So you're not even achieving that.
It is not that. That is not the guiding principle, because people are being. I think it's a way of.
Okay, Mark from USA says
them.
that in Mark from USA in 2017, the vetting process for Ghana's Minister of Energy, Boachi Ejakun, lasted for 5 hours and 30 minutes, spanning 2 days. So the source is Ghana Web. He says, in 2021, the vetting process of the Ghana's Minister for Finance, Ken Ofori-Atta, lasted approximately 7 hours, spanning 2 days. And good morning, my sister. Good morning to you, and thank you for the for the records and the research that. No.
Right.
He said spanning 2 days.
That's what I meant.
You say 2 days.
You know exactly what I meant.
2 days. Sharima.
Right.
Educational Forum, 8-member committee sets. They are coming back with a report in what?
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Sorry, 2 weeks. Yeah.
So yet again, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has promised in the lead up to the 2024 elections that he is going to lead the next 4 years and invites Ghana and Ghanaians and our partners within and without to collaborate, cooperate, and help to build the Ghana that we all want. The Ghana that puts the Ghanaian at the center of development, the Ghana that's able to provide the basic necessities for the citizens who are deserving of it. We, as a political party, we pride ourselves in our egalitarian ethos. So yes, we are not a party of middle and upper class. We are a party of all that up and down. We are a party of grassroots, because as our constitution says, sovereignty lies with the people. And the people are those who are the grassroots. The people are those who are the peripheries. The people are those who have not benefited in any way from the gains of this democracy that we have been experimenting for over 32 years. So we pride ourselves that we are a party that always is guided by generating prosperity for the mass of Ghanaians, for the people of for the people of Ghana. And that's why we arguably, under His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, we are constituting the most representative and the most diverse government ever to be seen in the history of our democracy. Every region, most ethnic groups, religious representation, as envisaged by our 1992 Constitution, which I see you have a copy here. So there was a promise that we're going to hit the ground running, and that's exactly what he has done, to hit the ground, running. If we look at the inequalities that exist in this nation, we can't, for the like of any by the stretch of any imagination, think that it is a badge of honor to believe your party as a party of equals, of a middle class and an upper class. The masses matter, their voices matter, their representation matters, their issues most especially matters. And so when we came into power, into service, I actually like to use the word service more than I like to use the word power. Within the 14 days, the 2 weeks, he had actually named his cabinet as he promised. And yes, thankfully, with the cooperation of Parliament and the Appointments Committee, we've been able to have a record number of nominees go through the vetting process and also even their swearing in. As we speak, if you look at the raft of appointments that I've done for both ministers, for the staff at the presidency, for committees, and also for agencies, we are on full course to create this, Ghana that is representative of our diversity. If you take the numbers, and if you're going to do even a gender analysis of what we have done so far, if you look at the representations across board, like ministries, the presidency is 50-50. All of us, there are 5 women, 5 men at presidential staffers. And if you take the agencies, we are seeing a record number of female CEOs and deputy CEOs to various agencies and authorities. And if you look at the committees, they are also very gender balanced. And with the gender question, the promise was a minimum 30% representation in government. So far, by our last count, this week we'll tabulate again for the new appointments that have come. But as of last week, we're done 27%. That is not shabby at all. We are just 3% shy of our minimum. And I want to believe that we may even add a little jara to it. We would most likely go beyond the 30%, all things being equal, across board. So this is very impressive, and we must commend His Excellency's commitment to, leaving his word and meeting his promises. And so I was also a bit surprised when at Parliament, at the Appointments Committee, there were suggestions from some quarters that the President should come and apologize and increase the numbers, because they believe from the minority side that 60 might be too small a number. You see, when the NPP came into power 8 years ago and announced their 123 ministers, I actually wrote a post. And I said, I thought that the task must inform, the numbers, not the numbers informing the task. And my rationalization was that when you come into an office, you do not have a full overview of the depth of work. You don't need numbers to understand that. You need a few to quickly go in, assess the situation, start the project. Mm-hmm. So for example, you may not need 10 people to conceptualize how we're going to do our 24-hour economy. Once the ideation has been finished, the conceptualization, the deployment plan has been prepared, then you will know how many more hands you now need for implementation. So it was okay, and we campaigned for a lean and efficient government. So until such time that we begin to bring upstream a lot of our major policies, we cannot even make any justification to increase numbers, because we must first justify
why the need, if there is a need.
And that's the promise. And so what was the thinking behind the counter promise of the NPP then, that they would do, I beg your pardon, they would do 50 ministers? So was this just to counter the the NDC's, proposal for political expediency, so that you're now advising us to come and apologize and increase the numbers? That was the campaign promise. And this is what I also want to urge our party people. We knew that this was the campaign promise. And we also know that there are not a lot to go by. So the reality is that some people will not get. And so we just have to plead for deeper understanding and
is it
for
a challenge
people,
for you?
Obviously, it's a challenge because look, this is the most massive.
I mean, I hear around as a challenge, but I want to hear coming from you.
It's a massive win. So it means a lot of people have put in work from across the length of, and breadth of the country. But unfortunately, not everybody who is desirous of a position might be able to get a position. And so for those who may not get in, they should not despair. And some will say, oh, that's rich coming from you because you're already in. It's providence. Providence would give us all different opportunities at different times. So it also behoves on us, those who at least have our, the seats around the table, to, like Professor Nana Jane said some time back, to also keep the door open and to help. At the end of the day, what people are fearful about is that they will not get opportunities. So even if they don't get positional opportunities, we should work in such a way that we generate the work so people can get opportunities to work, people can get projects to do, people can get
even
employment,
outside core government.
And yes, and of course, even outside, especially how much can government employ? I mean, the entire public, wage bill, how much is it? Do you see? So it is really activating the private sector, and that's what we're hoping, that once the 24-hour economy comes on stream, there will be so many opportunities for people to venture into things. Joint venture, people should, teams should build together, but we also have to represent as much as possible.
John Dumelo.
Yeah.
I have seen, I can't even hide my admiration. I can't even hide my admiration.
This lobbying there. Farmer John,
yes,
he's doing great in agriculture.
I mean, he doesn't even need any recognition, in a so-called top positions, whatever, or in the core government positions being provided, because I think he's found himself so much to do outside government and can help others.
He will probably need an enabling support so he can expand his business. So that's brilliant. I mean, coming back to the topic at hand. So once the team is in place, the work begins in earnest. I mean, luckily, a few ministers have already started they've reported to work, they've started working. Some CEOs have also reported and they've started working. So please let us bear our
But members
our
of parliament are not going to work.
Pardon?
Members of parliament are not going to work.
I don't understand.
MPs from your side are not going to parliament.
Oh, some are going.
Some
but because it's because of the preliminary, especially those who have been sworn in. And some of the new ones, they have to do a lot of administrative things.
That's
so
why
they
not going to parliament.
They come and they go. So sometimes you not see them sit throughout because they still have administrative things to get their offices set, to get their research. So please, we've not done a month in office. So please bear with the forming process. The forming process is not a one-day thing, and we're doing it as quickly as we can. And I'm happy that Ghanaians are aligned with the efforts, because they can see genuine efforts on the side of His Excellency to form his government very quickly so they can get to work. So, and again, what I want to tell Ghanaians watching is that anytime you look at us in this year, see this year as the year of review and a year of accountability. Review meaning that we're going to bring to you a lot of the major problems in the important sectors of the economy that we have spoken about during the campaign. So there was a promise of a constitution review process. We have, His Excellency swore in the members of that constitution review last week, chaired by H. Kwesi Prempeh of the CDT. We have also announced the National Economic Dialogue Committee, which is also supposed to bring together and organize a non-partisan, bi-stakeholder platform to have a deep conversation about the state, the real state of the Ghanaian economy, and what we need to be agreeing on. So we don't have an MPP approach, an NDC approach. Strategies would differ, but the vision must be the same, because all political parties, NDC, MPP, face the same set of economic challenges. It is how we resolve them, or the interventions that would differ in terms of the outcomes that we are able to generate. And today there's an announcement of the National Education Dialogue. So these are three major offerings the education dialogue, the constitution review, and the what was this other one? The economic dialogue, that are all come up on stream within, this year. And so we would like to call on all Ghanaians to participate in these, platforms, so we can have a very representative voice around the table.
Okay.
The education matter is of essence, because the Free Senior High School, which is a subset of the broad educational dialogue, it's going to look comprehensively under the leadership of Honorable Haruna Idrisu, the Education Minister, at our education. The President told him what his brief is. You are to ensure we have an educational system fit for the 21st century, fourth industrial revolution, going into fifth. We are in fifth. I mean, other, countries are doing fifth, and here we are still, struggling to keep up. So our education must be fit for purpose, and we must review all aspects of our education in terms of the curricula, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of our teachers, and the educational instructors and their own capacity, even also with the quality of the education that we are offering to Ghanaians. So in 2 weeks, we would hear in detail about when the forum will take place, which stakeholders are being, invited to come on the table. And my prayer is that we'll be able to implement, as much as possible, a consensus approach as a result of the outcome of those conversations. So this is the Ghana we want. We invite you to join us, to support us with your positive energy, because again, you are the one who gave us this mandate. So you and us are the one creating this Ghana we want. We are not adversaries. We expect criticism, but it must be constructive. We expect participation also from the media. So we don't do he said, she said, because when there's an objective matter, please let us deal with it objectively.
Right.
We shouldn't invite an MPP opinion, NDC opinion, and have the MPP try to justify something that is obviously not right or didn't go well. Let us agree, so that when that happens, we are having very robust conversations about ideas to implement and get us out of the rut we currently find ourselves in.
Doc.
Yeah, I think there's the second or third committee.
Is educational are you going to be a part of this forum?
The MPP will be invited.
It's up to them.
They'll be invited.
They're a key stakeholder.
Because I think with education, a lot went on there that we are proud of, that we hope is continued. The TVET, the great improvements we brought to the TVET sector, to the point that the enrollment there doubled. We gave them beautiful facilities as well. The introduction of STEM and all of that, the change of our curriculum to be directed towards STEM and all of that. And I am quite confident that even after all the discussions, they'll probably land at the same place, because I believe personally that that's the direction that we should go on. We're in a technological-driven world, and everything seems to be moving towards STEM. There's even been reports of there being a need of more than, I can't remember the exact number, but millions of staff required from Africa to be able to meet the demands of the growing technological world. So I hope that at the end of this discussion, they land in the same direction that we were heading. But yes, of course, we are available for...
The same direction you were headed?
Yes.
Where were you headed?
Oh, with the direction of changing our curriculum towards STEM, improving TVETs, trying to build our educational base to be able to feed the workforce of the growing world. That's the direction.
What was your educational policy?
Well, I've basically given you highlights of that. So to make the secondary education free, to change the curriculum and direct everything towards STEM, to improve the junior high school education, to have more model, basically a focus on science, technology, and mathematics, the whole STEM part. So that's the direction that we were heading on. So yes, if we're invited, of course, we will be available to provide our insights and what we were thinking about. But I mean, are these commissions and what do we call it? Is this something that we really need to do? Because I think some of the problems that we have are well noted. So is it just going to be another case of sitting down, discussing problems we are already aware of, Why can't we just go straight to the matter? But anyway, I think everybody has their own way of doing things. So we will watch and, as I said, wish them all the best again. To the case of the Constitutional Review Committee, are they going to use the recommendations of the initial committee set up by the late Prof. Mills, or is there another one? Why was there a need? So today I'm going to join the Honorable Okudzeto Ablakwa with the questions. Why was there a need to constitute another commission when we've had one in the past where the recommendations have not been implemented yet? So I'm also interested to know what happens with that.
I'm just trying to go through the policies, and you had promises like encourage the colleges of education to update their curricula to ensure they produce graduates and to the world that will teach the well-equipped and critical thinking population. Undertake national audit of skills, develop online educational platform to host, stream, and share, ensure proper decentralization of teacher recruitment and management, restore teacher trainee facilities, restore allowances paid, These were like, the way I see policies, it didn't capture. I wanted a holistic.
I'll send you
educational policy. What's your educational policy?
Solutions manifesto.
Because these are like milestones.
So I'll send you the bold solutions. Yes, that was the actual manifesto. So that had a very detailed policy.
Okay, this one is 2020 anyway.
Yeah, so that's far back. The updated one that we went into the election with is definitely worth a read.
With the bold solutions.
It's definitely worth a read, because we all agree that everything is becoming technological now. Even the president, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, admitted that, and I was very happy to be on Timbaumia because we were vindicated.
Oh no, please! What are you saying?
The digital economy is the way to go.
This man has been doing digital
for a lot of vindications coming that way. Gold for oil, that also came about. That I always thought was like a very maverick policy thought about. No, it's something that they are also continuing, isn't it?
Who is continuing?
No, the NDC. They are isn't the gold board to purchase local gold to be able to stabilize the city? That's what they said. I'm telling you. No, have you read the document on the gold board? What their plan for the gold board is? It's about the same thing as the gold. The domestic gold. How does it differ?
Please, it's not the same.
Do you know what the gold for oil deal was?
What was it about? Gold for oil was simply put. I know a lot of things. Again, a lot of mudslinging was done to the gold for oil policy, but at its core, the gold for oil policy was to be able to buy gold locally and to be able to exchange that gold to buy oil. It was as simple as that, because we saw that every month we were using about $400 million in forex to acquire oil. So why not buy our gold locally and exchange that so that we can bring some stability to our currency? And anybody that hears that thinks it's a maverick idea. But again, at that point, a lot of things were said about it, and now it seems you want to implement it. So, we wish you the best.
Because that idea?
Yes.
What was what were the outcomes?
It brought stability to the city at that point.
Anyway.
So if it's that bad, then don't do it. Wait for us to come back.
Why was it? We are certainly not doing it.
What's the point of the gold board?
Just like we have cocoa board, we're doing a gold board.
So you are not going to use the gold from the gold board to stabilize the city?
They didn't tell you that they want to use it to purchase the oil.
It's in the press release that they brought out for the gold board.
You have to bring what?
Leave at 10.
So, okay,
it's in what you brought out. So, okay, if you are saying this, I'll quote you on it soon, Jamima. If you use
I'm not sure if it's the same thing. I haven't read into
No, I have read it, so I'm telling you.
Gold is about, but I don't think it's the same thing.
No, but if you are buying gold domestically, you are buying gold. You are buying gold domestically to back the city. But that is what Dr. Baumia said.
Okay, so Honorable Afenyomakin's agenda was to use
part of it.
Okay, I'm reading. It was to use Ablakwa and Sam George to score political points. The appointments committee is to ask the relevant questions that will bring the best out of the nominees. What will Ghanaians, when you use 5 hours, okay, what will Ghanaians gain when you use 5 hours to ask Honorable Sam George to take care of him that can make Ghana Post do better than DHL? Regards to Chamima. Alhassan Boswa, you sent that in. Evans Dinko sends that, says, Annie, the initial communique to the nominees to appear was 8, including Honorable Ablakwa and Akando. Later, leaders met and agreed to vet only 3 nominees, but that communique was not related to the nominees. Okay, that was how the 8 nominees all came. It was the fault of the clerk because she wasn't directed to stop the rest from appearing. Why should Afenyo Makin lead him? Okay, this sentence is not clear. Why should Afenyo Makin lead? Please, it's not clear, so I can't read it. I don't even know what you wanted to write there. But Simon, I see your message and I see the video you shared with me. Thank you. I'm sure we're going to use it later on. But his name is Jawul Binapadam Abraham. Whose name? I think I'll call you later for some clarity on that. Here. All right. So this is what time will allow us here.
What you're saying is not for backing the city. This is the official communique.
What are you even
this key initiative of President John Dramani Mahama aimed at maximizing the nation's gold reserves and stabilizing its currency.
And that is not the only object.
But most of the policies,
I'm saying what is wrong.
Did you not see this gold board proposed in our manifesto? Why are you making it look like?
Why do you want to liken it to the gold?
No, I'm just saying. Oh, so are you saying that you didn't know that one of Dr. Bawumia's flagship campaign promises was to use the gold to stabilize the city?
What was our campaign promise? I don't even know what API is about because the gold board is in our manifesto. We launched our manifesto before you launched your manifesto. So then we can say you copied our manifesto.
It's not about copying.
Because
this is something he campaigned on.
Well done for campaigning for gold.
Because even that's their questions about it.
Everything we did, there were questions. That we are willing to answer those questions.
You will answer. You will answer those questions.
Let's wrap up here.
The Asante Kotoko fund.
Yes.
Quick condolences
to the
whole Fabulous family and
very unnecessary.
Disturbing,
very unnecessary. I mean, very unnecessary.
I insist that we took an
I'm just saying that it is interesting. Like it vindicates every time I wake up. I'm seeing that you are implementing something we did that you complained about. So we'll go.
We are implementing what is in our manifesto, my dear Dr.
Thank you for watching the show. We're back tomorrow with Good Morning Ghana. Enjoy the rest of our programs. Thank you.
More than 80% of global trade is carried by sea. Most of the products we consume daily travel through ports.